My name is Enrico Bottazzi. I work as a researcher inside PSC, which is a team at the Ethereum Foundation. We work broadly on privacy enhancing technologies, and I worked a lot with like ZK, and I recently also moved to FHE and NPC research. And my first contribution to the space in FHE was this paper called Greco, which is about proving the correct formation of a ciphertext using ZK snark. At ITCC in Paris when I attended a presentation from Bliss. They were explaining about how FHE can be used for private information retrieval. And at the time, I was working at Summa, which is a protocol for a centralized exchange to perform a proof of solvency. And PAR was very important there because we wanted to prevent the exchange to know which user requested the proof, because like this information could tell the exchange what are the users that are less likely to verify the proof in the future. So we wanted to hide this information, and PR was kind of perfect to that. And starting from this application of FHE, I kind of also became aware of like the bigger picture of FHE. Right, right. So my favorite FHE scheme, I would say that is a BFV. Like the reason is that I simply was the one that I started with, and well, of course, when I started, I wasn't really aware of what were the main FHE scheme and which to choose over the others. So it was mostly my colleague John Majai that suggested me to use BFV, and I will say that whichever you pick to start with, it's really there are like a lot of commonalities between different schemes. So most of the time you will end up, reusing many primitives, many concepts between different schemes. But yeah, I would say BFV still. Right, right. So I would say that the reason why I end up and the context I end up working in FHE is pretty random. Like I was participating in this open source program run by Axiom, and we were kind of put together into teams to work on a specific project. And I wanted to work on different stuff, but my second preference was in with a team that was working with FHE, and they were originally wanted to implement FHE for a very specific problem related to identity, signatures, nullifiers, but and I wasn't completely convinced by what they were building. But as soon as I realized that one component of this application was this verifiable encryption, I kind of realized the potential. I was also kind of surveying the space, also work that you are doing at Zama, and I realized that this was something that was needed beyond this specific application, and was also a primitive that was missing at the time. So this was what kind of encouraged me to work in FHE and on this specific problem inside FHE. Yeah, I think like the biggest challenge that I faced specifically when I approached FHE was the different cryptography artifacts that I was working with. So I don't come with like a this kind of a broad cryptography background. I was mostly familiar with cryptography in the context of zero knowledge proof, And like FHE works mostly with like lattice-based cryptography and polynomial rings, while I was mostly familiar with elliptic curve cryptography. So yeah, I would say that at the beginning it was a big challenge and still is. But like jumping into the implementation for me as more like an engineer type helped me a lot in overcoming this challenge and just to see things work, like passing tests, kind of encouraging and makes me feel less challenged, I would say. Um, so in general, I see that one big area of application of in general like privacy technologies is machine learning, and I say this because from the feedback that I get from people that I meet, even like the easiest way for me to explain them what FHE is by using machine learning as an example, by using ChatGPT as a use case to apply that. And I feel that people are kind of concerned about their privacy in the context of machine learning. So I think this is um, a big area in which this industry can apply. And but at the same time, I'm also not sure how this cryptography-based privacy can compete with another type of privacy that is enabled by trusted hardware. Like Apple recently launched their proprietary AI integration, and they use this Apple Secure Compute to guarantee privacy. So I'm not sure if people would be able to, um, tell the difference between these two type of privacy. It's even difficult for me sometimes to justify when to use cryptography rather than hardware. So I think the yeah, this is where the industry is going, the privacy industry is going, but I'm not sure what would be like the tool that we are going to use to get there. Right. Um, right. One thing that I think should be improved in FHE, which is something that I struggled with at the beginning, but I'm still struggling with, is related to the security parameters. So as I've been mostly working with BFE, you know that in order to guarantee the security of your application, and in order to avoid that the noise grows too much, you need to choose some security parameters. But I find it difficult to assess how to choose these parameters. And I know that there are like standards and there are tooling to pick these parameters, but I also sometimes feel confused about how these parameters are generated, like where are they coming from? So I would like if there was more care about these parameters, and not just like giving you the parameters, but also explaining you what's the rationale behind the choice. Yes, like I think the advice that I would suggest them is to to try to not believe in many of the cliches that are common when talking about FHE. So one example is like you often hear people saying that FHE is like so slow that it would be, you know, usable and concrete in like 30 years, but this is not true. As soon as you start playing around, you see that this can be applied even today for many. many problems. And another cliche is also about like the complexity. You know, you heard that your FHE is like this moon math, and well, of course, like if you want to understand everything about FHE, it will take you time. But if you focus on specific problems, is it's easier to start with. Which is, for example, in my case, I only focus on a very small piece of FHE, and I try to get the most out of it. So you don't really need to learn everything before starting to dive into that.